There are few professional athletes as loved as much as Kevin Garnett is in Minnesota. But his jersey doesn't hang in the rafters. No one else in Timberwolves history got the team to the level of success that KG did, but he has absolutely no association with the team. Not in the front office, not as part of the ownership group, not even as an ambassador of the team outside of Minnesota. It's like the fact that he ever played there has disappeared. In today's video, I'm going to tell you the real story behind Kevin Garnett's complicated relationship with the Minnesota Timberwolves, why the breakup happened, and if anything can ever be salvaged. What's up, guys? This is Troy, host of the Half Court Report YouTube channel. If you're looking for NBA stories, news, and analysis, then you have come to the right place. And if you like this video, would love if you click that subscribe button so I can keep giving you content like this. I'm looking to get to 100 subs by the end of April. And you can also follow me on Twitter at Half Court Report. So in order to understand what led to the breakdown of the relationship between Kevin Garnett and the Timberwolves franchise, you need to understand all of the people involved. And there are three main players in all of this. You have Kevin Garnett, of course. There's Flip Saunders, who was Garnett's coach with the Timberwolves. And there's Timberwolves owner Glen Taylor. So we all know about Kevin Garnett. He played for the Timberwolves for 12 years in the league. And really, that's longer than a lot of guys' careers in the NBA. He was drafted straight out of high school by the Timberwolves in the mid-90s. And this is back when high schoolers did not go straight into the NBA without going to college first. It hadn't been done since Moses Malone had done it 20 years prior. And you got to remember, the Timberwolves were really swinging for the fences with this Garnett pick. Before KG came to the team, the Timberwolves had only been in the NBA for 6 seasons. And it's not like they'd had any success during that time. They'd never won more than 29 games. And in the last 4 seasons before KG arrived, they'd never won more than 21 games. This team was a complete bottom feeder, and if this KG pick didn't work out, it was going to set the team back for an even longer time. There was just so much riding on this pick that Garnett was the best selection. It didn't take long for Garnett to give the Timberwolves success. By his second year, they had made the playoffs, and Garnett was already looking like a future All-Star. He would become a multiple-time All-Star. He would become an MVP for the Timberwolves. And all during this time, he was beloved by the city and by the franchise. Through it all, Flip Saunders was there, almost as KG's right-hand man. So Flip started as GM of the Timberwolves about a month before KG was drafted. And he was a big reason that KG was picked by the Timberwolves. So there was already that connection between the two of them. There was the, I believe in you, we're going to succeed together, we're going to make something of this team, let's do this. And a few months into Garnett's rookie season, Flip Saunders even took over as head coach of the team. The current coach was just not getting it done, so Flip was pulling double duty as head coach and as the GM as well. And as KG was growing up and becoming a dominant player, Flip Saunders was there beside him the entire time. They were growing and building this thing together. But like how it often is in the NBA, it's really hard to be successful year after year. And it got to the point where the team needed a new voice. So after about 10 years, Saunders was fired as head coach. And things really weren't better for the next couple of years. So the Timberwolves start thinking, okay, maybe we've gone as far as we can with Garnett as the centerpiece. Maybe we need to think about rebuilding. So KG was traded to Boston. We all remember that trade. But it wasn't one of those things where Garnett left Minnesota and just forgot all about the team. He's a loyal guy. He's an emotional guy. Years after leaving the Timberwolves organization, Garnett said, "It's still part of me, man. It was a great part of my life and a huge part of my progression, so I've always thought to give it the proper due and respect. Without Minneapolis, I don't know where I would be. Real talk." That quote is also famous for being the only KG quote without swearing.
Mommy, where are you? I'm scared.
It's true.
So now let's talk about the third person involved in the situation, and that's Timberwolves owner Glen Taylor. So Taylor bought the Timberwolves about a year before Garnett was drafted, and by all accounts, his relationship with Garnett was pretty friendly while Garnett was playing there. I mean, he must have liked him, because back when contracts were a little different in the NBA, Taylor gave KG a 6-year, $125 million deal. And you gotta remember, this was over 20 years ago. So if you put that in today's dollars, that's about what Kawhi Leonard is making. And this was paid to KG by his 4th year in the league, which made him a top 5 paid player in the NBA. But during 2015, when Garnett was nearing retirement, the two had a falling out. This is what we know. After playing for 6 years in Boston, Garnett was traded again, this time to the Brooklyn Nets, and he spent an uneventful season and a half there before he was traded back again, and it was to Minnesota, so it's his 2nd time with the team. So you got to keep in mind that by this point, KG is nowhere near the same player that he was the first time around with the Timberwolves. By this point, he's almost 40 years old. He's averaging what are more or less career lows all across the board. And the makeup of the team is a lot different too. It's a rebuilding team. This is a team that would only win 16 games that year. It's a team that's made up of a ton of first and second year players. Now, Garnett could have refused to get traded there. He did have a no-trade clause in his contract. He could have refused to report to the team, but he didn't. And a big reason for that is Flip Saunders. So you see, Flip Saunders had been rehired as the Timberwolves coach that offseason. So the trade for Garnett wasn't some sort of nostalgic gesture. The Timberwolves, they had intentions of re-signing Garnett to a new 2-year contract after the season was over. And they did. But that's when things got complicated and even tragic. So here's the timeline. Garnett signed his new 2-year deal in July of 2015. A month later, Flip Saunders is diagnosed with cancer. And within 2 months after that, he's passed away. And this is where the bad blood between Garnett and Glen Taylor starts. Garnett has always said that there was an agreement with him and Saunders that Garnett would become part of the Timberwolves ownership group after his retirement. Taylor, though, said that wasn't in the cards, or at least not anymore. Maybe there was something in the past, but one of the major players involved in all this, that being Flip Saunders, is no longer here. And then on top of that, the NBA prohibits current players and owners from talking about ownership stakes. And then add to that Garnett's anger at Taylor for what he thought wasn't enough to honor Flip Saunders after he died. The Timberwolves organization put up a permanent banner, but Garnett said it wasn't enough. Through all this, it seems like Taylor has tried to make amends with Garnett. He tried to retire KG's number 21 jersey, but KG refuses to accept or attend any sort of ceremony. He says it's a phony gesture and that Taylor's only doing it because fans are pressuring him to do so. It's not like Garnett's opposed to getting his jersey retired by other teams. Boston is planning to do it next season. And this is a team that Garnett played for half as long as he did for Minnesota. And as time has gone on, Garnett has not budged an inch in his dislike for Taylor. You may have seen in a recent interview that KG did with The Athletic where he's just calling Taylor every name in the book. One of the quotes going around is how KG calls him a snake, and he doesn't do business with snake-like people. Very reptilian descriptions coming from Kevin Garnett. Just think about it like this. A player like Garnett, whose history with Minnesota is comparable to something like Charles Barkley with the Phoenix Suns or Patrick Ewing with the Knicks. You could even say Karl Malone with Utah Jazz. So for him to say things like that to the owner of the Minnesota team, that's a lot of bad blood between KG and Glen Taylor. I don't see this ending anytime soon. Like I said earlier, KG is loyal and he's emotional, and he's like that off the court, just like he was on the court. He's been the same way after he retired. He feels that Glen Taylor went back on his word, or whatever KG thought it was at the time. Garnett feels disrespected as a man, and I don't see what Taylor could say or do to make it right, short of giving Garnett some sort of ownership stake in the team. And what does that do for Taylor? I mean, not anything, except maybe earn him some goodwill with a few folks, and then you've got the casual fans who aren't even going to have an opinion either way. It's on both of these guys to make it right, and until then, there's not going to be any sort of jersey retirement in Minnesota. There's not going to be any sort of welcome home party for this Minnesota legend, and it's all because of a pointless grudge. And the fans are the ones having to pay the price. Hey guys, one more thing. Here's some more videos to check out on the Half Court Report channel. I hope you like them, and thanks for watching.